This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. It was great seeing everybody at the Dayton Hamvention this year. The weather was perfect and the crowd seemed to have a great time absorbing all the ham radio energy in the air. Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, was awarded the Ham of the Year, and Dr. Christina Collins, KD8OXT, received the Hamvention Technical Achievement Award for her work with the Hamsci Personal Space Weather Station Network, along with Julio Rapol, WD4R, who received the Special Achievement Award for his work with the National Hurricane Center Amateur Radio Net. I was able to take in a lot of interesting things to see and even purchased a few new things. Some new radios hit the shelves and some old classics were seen in the flea market. Lots of meeting up with friends and contact at places like the Podig booth, and the YouTubers were everywhere filming their upcoming ham radio YouTubes. What a great time was had by everyone, and we're all looking forward to next year's Hamvention. Congratulations to Greg Lang, who passed his technician class license exam, and Jonathan Withy, W8WTH, who passed his general class license exam at the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club testing session. Congratulations to both of you, and Greg, welcome to the hobby. A great job by the Bullet Amateur Radio Society in Kentucky and the work they did with the Liberty High School demonstrating amateur radio to students and getting some of them on the air for the first time. Part of the Big Picture Learning Partner Program. Great job. Robert Bob Bauer, KC4HM, became Silent Key at the age of 73. Bob was a lifetime member of the ARRL since 1978 and was first licensed in 1975 with the call sign of KA4CRG. He was an active volunteer at the Greater Louisville Hamfest and a member of the Amateur Radio Transmitting Society of Louisville, Kentucky, and the Bullet Amateur Radio Society. He was a trained National Weather Service Skywarn storm spotter and was active in Aries and the Kentucky Contest Group. Our thoughts and prayers to his many family and friends. On May 24th, the Bullet Amateur Radio Society in Kentucky will be doing their monthly Parks on the Air activation at 11 a.m. Listen out for them. The application period for Youth on the Air Junior 2025 is open until June 1st for all young hams under 15 years of age, accompanied by a parent. The Yoda Junior is a 3-day weekend camp for young hams to meet other young hams, participate in unique experiences with radio-related technologies, and build relationships with mentors and peers. To apply, go to youthontheair.org/juniorcamp-apply. The Youth on the Air program is in need of your financial support. Thanks to Garmin, Yoda is holding a silent auction for a Garmin Vivo Active 5 GPS smartwatch. The auction started on May 12th and will end on May 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Put your bid in on this remarkable piece of gear. Go to youthontheair.org. The Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association is inviting all clubs to participate in their Northeast Ohio Multi-Club Parks on the Air POTA event on Saturday, May 31st, 2025. This event is geared to promote ham radio, your club, and Parks on the Air, and to encourage club collaboration. It's not only fun, but easy to do as well. For more information or to sign up for the event, go to w8wky.org/neo-POTA. If your club is interested in participating, please contact Josh Van Dyke at KE8VKA@gmail.com. Come and learn all about how to send and receive a radiogram on June 2nd at 7 p.m. at the Amateur Radio Emergency Team in Northern Kentucky's meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky, where Al, WB8RGE, will be doing a presentation with some hands-on on how to send and handle a radiogram. So come on out to the meeting and learn how to handle amateur radio traffic. It's an important skill for all ham radios operators to have in their ham radio toolkit. The 2025 Kentucky QSO Party is quickly approaching. Sponsored by the Kentucky Contest Group, it is always held on the first Saturday in June, from 1300 hours UTC on June 7th to 0100 hours UTC June 8th this year, which is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday, June 7th. You can help put Kentucky front and center on the HF bands by activating your station and your county. You might consider a multi-operator station and a well-equipped station, or for you Parks on the Air folks, select some parks that you can easily activate throughout the day. Spread the word throughout your ham radio friends and especially the many clubs across the Commonwealth. Let's make the Commonwealth radioactive. I hope to see you on the air. For more information, go to kyqsoparty.org. The Brunch Bunch will be meeting on June 14th at 1 p.m. at Kirby's Tavern, 4378 Bridge Street in Loveland, Ohio, just a block from the Little Miami River and the Loveland Bike Trail. The MS Bike Ride will be held on June 14th and 15th, 2025 at my old Kentucky home state park, 501 East Stephen Foster Avenue in Bardstown, Kentucky. They're looking for amateur radio operator volunteers to keep communications flowing over the 25 to 60-mile route. Checking on riders, assisting MS staff, providing support for biker with water, transporter aid is needed. You can sign up for 4 partial shifts and you'll be fully briefed on your assignment and responsibilities. You'll need a mobile dual-band radio or at least a dual-band handheld with enough battery power to carry you throughout your shift. If you're interested, email kg2des@outlook.com and copy nf8d@gmail.com with your call sign, phone number, email address, and what days and times work best for you. June 15th is VHF Activity Day, designed to engage those technician operators primarily to experience simplex operation on 146, 223, and 446 megahertz bands. So get that VHF UHF station set up and go have some radio fun. There will be a Kentucky Parks on the Air meetup on June 21st at 1630 hours UTC at the Taylorsville Lake State Park Picnic Shelter, US 1271. Talk in, and of course park to park, on 146-520. The ARRL Summer Field Day is coming on June 28th and 29th. The Okayan Amateur Radio Society will be back at Mitchell Memorial Forest location and planning on setting up their 5-station event on Friday at 2 p.m. For more information or to volunteer, contact Field Day Chairman Eric, N8YC, at n8yc123@gmail.com. The Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be operating Field Day from the Lincoln Ridge Park, 420 Independence Station Road in Independence, Kentucky. Be sure to check out ARRL.org/field-day. Paddle Fest will be held on the weekend of August 2nd, and they're looking for some amateur radio volunteers to assist with managing and deploying FRS radios to be used during this year's event. If you'd like to volunteer to help out, please contact Rick Halderman, KD4PYR at KD4PYR@fuse.net. A special thanks to you, the listener of the AB4WS Radio Show audio podcast and YouTube channel. We just received word that again this year, the AB4WS Radio Show has been ranked in the top 50 ham radio podcasts, coming in at number 7, behind such great shows as Ham Radio Crash Course, Ham Radio 2.0, Ham Radio Workbench Podcast, the ARRL Audio News, Amateur Radio Roundtable, and On the Air. Thanks to you, the listener.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com. There's a new repeater in Georgetown, Kentucky area on 443.100 with a 100 Hz PL tone for analog, but it also runs C4FM on digital with the Wires X node of 03265. Check it out.
Hamfest.
On May 24th is the Scioto Valley Amateur Radio Club Hamfest, 8 a.m. to noon at the Pike County Fairgrounds, Piketon, Ohio. June 7th is the FCARC Summer Hamfest from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Delta American Legion Post 373 on the corner of Ohio 109 and County Road F5939 in Delta, Ohio. August 9th is the Cincinnati Hamfest, sponsored by the Milford Amateur Radio Club at the Claremont County Fairgrounds in Owingsville, Ohio. For more information, go to milfordhamradio.org. On August 9th is the Letcher County Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Mountain Shrine Club, 95 Maryland Drive in Whitesburg, Kentucky, from 8 a.m. to noon. They're already amassing a nice stash of door prizes from some great name brand sponsors. For more information, contact Roland Brown, AF4Y at AF4Y@REBROWN.org.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On June 10th, the Stubblefield Repeater Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at 200 Alpine Drive in Shelbyville, Kentucky. For more information, contact Cecil Harden, K5CPT, at 502-712-3400. On June 12th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@KAWEH@ARRL.net or on the KAGE.net website. On Saturday, June 14th at 10 a.m., there'll be a W5YI amateur radio exam session at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. For information, contact Ron Malinowski at 502-542-8252. On June 14th, the Westchester Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at 10 a.m. at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. For more information and to register, go to hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On June 16th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions or emailing Mark Volstead, AI4BJ@MVOLSTAD@TWC.com. On June 25th at 10 a.m., there'll be an amateur radio exam session at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. Pre-register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions. On June 25th at 6 p.m., the Dial Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 3806 Manchester Road in Middletown, Ohio. To pre-register, go to hamstudy.org/sessions. On July 12th, the Westchester Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at 10 a.m. at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. For more information and to register, go to hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On August 14th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@KAWEH@ARRL.net or check in on the KAGE.net website. On October the 9th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@KAWEH@ARRL.net or on the KAGE.net website. On December 11th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing K8WEH@KAWEH@ARRL.net or on the KAGE.net website. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE4WA, KY6MM, W8WTD, WX4GPS, KN4COE, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.